The Real Mccoys, starring Walter Brennan, created by Irving Pincus.
Want you to meet the family known as the Real Mccoys. That's Grandpappy Amos, the head of the clan. He roars like a lion, but he's gentle as a lamb. And now here's Luke, who beams with joy since he may take Mrs. Luke McCoy. From West Virginia they came to stay in sunny California. Old Grandpappy Amos and the girls and the boys of the family known as the Real McCoys.
Yes, sir. This is the perfect spot to raise them. We ain't growed nothing here for over a year, and this ground is ready. How's it taste?
Terrible.
Well, you have another helping, just to make sure.
No soybeans are going to grow around here, Luke.
Well, are you sure, Grandpa? Maybe you just lost your taste for dirt.
Look, dirt's got to have a certain taste in order to have soybeans grow. And our dirt tastes, well, just like ordinary dirt. Just ain't got it.
Grandpa, that UCLA college fella told me that this part of the valley was good for growing soybeans.
If that fella spent less time going to school and more time eating dirt, well, he wouldn't make no silly statements like that.
Grandpa.
Now, look, Luke, I've been nibbling at the soil for better than 50 years, and I ain't never been wrong about what to grow where.
Yeah, well, maybe you just picked a weak spot. Here, try some of this dirt.
Well, all right, but it ain't no good.
Thought you told me you never ate between meals.
No. Hello, George.
Shall I get my shovel and join you in a snack?
Look, George, Grandpa just tasting this dirt to see if we can grow soybeans here.
And you can't.
Why not? They grow them all over the valley. If I could get somebody to work it, Amos, I'd put in 2 acres of soybeans myself. They're a good money crop, Amos.
Yeah, it sure is.
And, George, I know your land is just the same as ours. You can't grow soybeans any more than we can.
Look, Grandpa, maybe if we just put in a little patch.
But why?
Well, just to see.
But I done
Now,
told
look, Grandpa, I'm a farmer, too, and I think they will grow.
Well, I don't care what you think. We ain't growing them here, and that's that.
What? George, you say you've been looking for somebody to help you work a couple acres of soybeans? Well, you got somebody.
Now, George, you trying to make trouble in my face.
Who, me?
George, is it a deal?
Now, look, you better
Now
think
you're
about
encouraging me to go again me.
Amos,
Are you backing out, George?
No, look, but I'm just
well, all
saying-
right, then. It's a deal. And we'll show him, too.
Rest in peace, little beans.
What'd you tell you?
Well, I'll be dogged. And Grandpa said soybeans had never come up out here. Oh, honey, we've been waiting for you for days and days. Welcome to the outside world. Oh, George. George, I think we got some news for a certain you-know-who.
Now, hold on, Luke. You know, this is going to be a kind of a shock to your grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, couldn't we be diplomatic about the news and not tell him?
Now, look, George, every time I come back from working this field, Grandpa is waiting for me with a handful of insulting remarks. How'd things go on Bald Acres? Maybe you pointed them soybean seeds the wrong way and they're growing down instead of up.
That ain't nice, Luke.
No, George, no, he's got to be told.
Yeah, but look, you're one of the family. And if you and your grandpa have a fight, you're bound to make up. But, he'd never forgive me. So we gotta use tact and psychology. So you better let me tell him.
Well, all right.
You know, look, you can catch more flies with honey And with a horsefly the size of Amos, it could get to be a sticky business.
Hi, Amos. Well, empty-handed? You must have been harvesting that soybean crop again.
Now listen, Grandpa.
Amos, everybody knows you're a good farmer. Ain't nobody around here's going to deny that.
Well, it seems to me I recall a couple of nitwits around here that did.
Now look here, Grandpa.
Now, easy, boy. Whether the soybeans come up or not don't really matter. Anybody can be wrong once in a while.
Peppina, play a little sad music while she's talking with you.
Now, Grandpa.
Now, Kate, you was interrupting the Secretary of Agriculture. You was going to say something about somebody being a good farmer and about somebody being wrong.
Laughing boy, you've cackled your last cack. Soybeans are up and growing.
What?
They're growing?
Fit the bus.
They couldn't. They just couldn't.
Peppino, now you can play that sad song.
Turn that on. It just ain't possible.
Well, here's one of the bean shoots right here.
Alive and kicking.
Don't look like no soybean to me.
That there's a genuine soybean, and you know it.
George McMichael, I'll thank you to leave my house right now.
Amos,
You heard me. There ain't nothing lower than a man who'll turn another man's family against him. Now you just get.
if that's the way you feel about it, goodbye.
George, wait. Oh, Grandpa, you know you shouldn't have done that. George is your best friend. He may never come back.
Well, good riddance to him. I don't need no stranger coming in here and making a goddamn fool out of me right in front of my own family.
Oh, you sure don't. Not when you can do it all by yourself. Another inch. George, they growed another inch in less than 2 days.
That sure is satisfying.
If we ain't careful, we're going to have us a soybean jungle here before we know it. Oh, come on, George. You know Grandpa. He didn't mean it when he asked you to get out.
No, look. His heart was in it when he throwed me out.
He'll get over it. He always does.
All the soybeans in the world ain't worth losing my best friend.
You know, I'm sorry I got you into it, George. Really, I am.
Oh, you didn't mean no harm, Lou.
Wait a minute. I think maybe we can fix things up. Sir, I got me a little idea.
You have?
George, we're going to give Grandpa a chance to save his face. Only this time, you let me do the talking. Hello, Grandpa.
Hi, Amos.
What are you doing here?
George, come along with me to apologize to you about the soil. Yeah, me and George, we figured that you wasn't so total fat-headed wrong about them soybeans as we thought you was at first. You remember last month we had about 3 blowy days when the dust was so thick you couldn't see the smog?
I remember that, don't you, Amos?
Yeah, well, me and George, we figured that dirt that you tasted was blowed in here from someplace else. Yeah, someplace where they can't grow soybeans.
That's what you and George is thinking.
Yeah, sure is. Pretty smart thinking, huh, Amos?
Pitiful. It took the two of you to put your pee-wee brains together, come up with one ridiculous idea.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Well, first off, last month's wind was nothing compared to that breeze that's coming out of your mouth right now.
Now, hold on, George. I'll handle this. Grandpa, there ain't no need for you to spout fire so quick. We just come over here to make peace.
You come over here to rub salt in my wounds.
That ain't so. That ain't so, Amos.
Look at him with that nasty grin of showing all them gold fillings in his big fat mouth. If there's anything I hate, it's a gloater.
Oh, this has gone far.
George, remember what I told you.
Yeah, look at you, smirking and gloating right along with them. Again, your own flesh and blood. why you practically deserted your own family.
He done nothing like that at all, Amos. He was just...
And now you got Georgia talking for you, huh? As long as you and George are so goddamn buddy-buddy and bosom-bosom, maybe you'd ought to go with him and forget your McCoy altogether.
Amos, you don't mean for Luke to go off with
You
me?
see, he don't want you either.
I do too, Luke, but...
Thank you, George. Because maybe if I get pushed too far, I just might move on out of here.
No, Luke.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Hey, Amos, would you...
All right. All right, I'm leaving. George, I'm moving in with you. Lock, stock, kit, and caboodle.
Good story. It's been nice of knowing you.
And I'm taking my wife with me.
Kate?
Wherever I go, she goes.
Well, go on, take it in. Well, I hope you're satisfied now that you busted up my entire family.
Pack your things. We're getting out of here.
What?
Me and Grandpa just headed out, and he told me to get.
Oh, Luke, calm down.
You go fill up your suitcase with all your clothes. I'm wearing mine. We've been invited to George's.
Luke, you can't mean move. Now stop and think a minute.
I'm through thinking, and that goes for you, too. We're leaving.
Why don't you go in the living room and sit? And by the time you cool down, supper will be hot.
Kate, am I your husband or ain't I?
Well, of course, dear.
Are you coming with me or ain't you?
Luke, listen
Now,
to me.
look, I am going right now, with or without you.
Oh, Luke.
I ain't funning. I'm leaving. I'm going to say goodbye just once, and then I ain't going to say it again. This is the last time. Goodbye.
Luke, you know you don't mean that.
This is the last time. Goodbye. You thought I didn't mean it. Well, for the very last...
Terrible thing Luke done taking Kate with him.
Well, it's his right. When the senor gets, the senora got to get too.
Yeah, you can live with a person a lot of years before you realize how hard-hearted he is.
Senor Kate?
Well, if she was loyal, would she have walked out on little Luke and Hassie and made orphans out of all of us?
Oh, hi, Grandpa.
Oh, you're late.
This is going to be heartbreaking, but I got to tell them they've been deserted. Little Luke, Hash, there's something I...
Grandpa,
Kate! Kate, darling!
supper's almost ready.
Did you hear what the sweet girl said? Supper's ready.
I got baked ham, mashed potatoes, eaten corn, hot biscuits and honey, apple pie, and chocolate cake. Everything a loving Grandpa deserves.
Kate, you're one in a million. You're even less than that. You know, I was just telling Pepina here how true and loyal you was.
Oh, no, Senor Grandpa, you...
Pepina.
That's what he said, all right.
Well, come on. We would be showing respect to a darling Kate if we didn't go out there and get ourselves outside that food.
Grandpa, before we sat down at the table, would you do me a favor?
Why, anything, Kate. Make it hard.
Call Luke over at George McMichael's
What?
and tell him to come home. This foolishness has gone far enough.
Oh. So that's why the fancy supper. You're trying to drug me with food. Well, it ain't going to work. Luke can stay right over where he is with his new Grandpa George.
Grandpa, that's your thin skin talking.
Well, I ain't to call him.
Grandpa, would you break up this entire family because you won't admit that you was wrong and Luke was right?
It ain't that no more. It's something bigger than that. He deserted his family, and no self-respecting McCoy would do nothing like that.
But, Grandpa, you told him to get, didn't you?
Don't change the subject. He's gone and leave him stay gone.
I believe you mean that.
You're gone done right, I mean it.
I stayed here because I thought I could patch things up. But seeing the way you feel and how deep you feel it... Goodbye, Grandpa. Hey, you can't go away.
Heck, no.
I got no choice. My place is with Luke, and that's where I gotta go. Goodbye.
supper, Luke. Guess I ain't much of a cook.
Oh, that's all right, George. I ain't very hungry.
You feel kind of bad about your grandpa, don't you, Luke?
No. I feel even worse about Kate. It just shows me how much I count. I guess nobody really cares.
Oh, I do, Luke.
Thank you, George. Well, I think I'll go to bed.
It's just 6 o'clock.
What else is there to do?
Yeah. 6 o'clock. I'll be with Amos playing checkers right about now.
And I'd be helping Kate with the dishes. We'd had ham, and sweet potatoes, biscuits, apple pie. Ain't no one out well off. Well,
You got it. You're closer, Luke.
Kate.
Oh, 6 o'clock. Past my bedtime. Night, Kate.
Here's your lunch, Grandpa.
Oh, well, I'll kind of eat it later, Hess.
You don't have to be afraid of it. Take a look.
Yeah, I know you're doing the best you could, isn't you? Fried chicken, fresh coleslaw, apple dumplings. Well.
Okay, Grandpa?
I bet Kate thought he couldn't get along without her, huh?
Grandpa,
Why, she never cooked this good in her life.
she did this morning.
What?
I went over to see her this morning, and she fixed your lunch. She was afraid you wouldn't eat right.
Hi, Grandpa.
Oh, hello, little Luke. How'd you like to have yourself a fried chicken lunch?
Oh, no, thanks, Grandpa. I already had mine.
Then what are you doing loafing around here for? There's a lot of work to be done. Slopping the hogs and feeding the chickens and building the fence. Go on.
Okay, I'm going.
Well, what's the matter with you?
Senor Luke.
What's wrong?
What happened to him? Is he hurt?
Not him. His soybeans. They just laying flat on the sides and dying.
So soybeans is going to grow around here, and I don't know nothing about tasting dirt. Well, this will prove who's right and who's wrong. I guess you feel a little different about your grandpa now, don't you?
Awful nice of you to come all the way over from UCLA, Professor Oliver.
I'm interested in why this happened myself.
Yeah, well, they was coming up nice and strong and straight, and it seemed like just overnight they bent over and wilted.
I don't know quite what happened. This ground should be right.
But it ain't. It's like I've been telling you.
Look, if you come over here to laugh at us, just get it over with.
Yeah, go laugh in your own land. You're on mine and you ain't welcome.
These two fellas is amateur farmers, but they just won't admit it. I told them there's something wrong with this soil. It just ain't got what it takes for soybeans. Here, taste it yourself.
Thank you, no. I do my tasting with test tubes and chemicals.
Well, you wouldn't have to fiddle around with all that foolishness if you had an educated taster. Why, one little nibble will tell you that it just ain't got that sort of a metal flavor that you ought to have.
Metal flavor?
Yeah, you know, sort of like a piece of old iron that's been laying out in the rain. It's a sort of a rusty taste.
Rusty. Oh, iron, of course. This land probably has too much calcium carbonate, which steals away the iron that's required by the soybeans. It also explains why the soil doesn't have that metallic flavor.
Exactly.
This soil needs to be augmented with a chelated iron.
Of course.
Chelated? Then why don't I buy some of that chelated iron?
Well, I don't know. It's an awful lot of money to risk with the odds so much against you. And it's probably too late.
Well, I guess that does it, George. And Grandpa, you ought to be real happy. You proved you was right.
someplace else? Oh, Luke, you don't mean that.
Look, I thought about it all night long. Let's see what else we can do. We can't go crawling back to Grandpa. Life wouldn't be worth living around here.
Are you sure that's what you want?
What am I going to do?
Look! It worked. It worked.
What are you talking about?
All that iron chelate you put on. You took a gamble, but the soybeans are saved.
What? Kate, did you hear that? The soybeans are saved. George?
Yeah?
I didn't put on any iron chelate.
You didn't? Well, I didn't either.
Hello, Mr. Simmons. This is Luke McCoy. Listen, did anybody come in there yesterday forenoon and buy some iron chelate? $80 worth. Thank you. Grandpa.